Have you ever wondered why the money in your pocket seems to buy less and less each year? The answer lies in a word we often hear but seldom understand: inflation. Inflation is like an invisible tax, quietly chipping away at the purchasing power of your hard-earned cash. It's the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising, and in turn, how quickly the value of money is falling. So now that we know what inflation is, let's dive into how it's actually caused. Imagine you are playing a game of Monopoly and suddenly one player starts printing their own money. What do you think will happen? In this scenario, the player with the ability to print their own money would likely start buying up properties, railroads, and utilities. Why not? They have an unlimited supply of cash after all. However, as this player's purchasing power increases, the other player's money becomes less valuable. Prices would inevitably rise to keep up with the increased flow of money. Soon, a simple property like Baltic Avenue, which usually costs 60 Monopoly dollars, might skyrocket to 600 or even 6,000. This is inflation in action right on your game board. Now let's take this analogy and apply it to real life. Just as in Monopoly, when more money is printed without a corresponding increase in goods and services available, prices go up. This happens because there are more dollars chasing the same amount of goods and services. If the supply of goods remains unchanged, and demand increases due to the increased supply of money, prices will naturally rise to balance the scale. Think about it like this. If everyone suddenly had $1 million, the demand for luxury goods and services would surge. But since the supply of these goods and services cannot increase overnight, their prices would have to increase instead. This is the crux of the issue when governments print money without a corresponding increase in economic output. It's essentially like adding more players to the game of Monopoly, each with their own printing press but without adding more properties to the board. The result is a dilution of the value of money, leading to inflation. But it's not just about prices going up. Inflation affects everything from your savings to your income to the cost of your morning coffee. It's a complex economic phenomenon with far-reaching implications. That's exactly what happens in real life when the government prints more money without a corresponding increase in economic output. Alright, so we know what causes inflation, but how does it affect you and me? Let's break it down. Inflation in its simplest form is a rise in the general level of prices of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. When the general price level rises, with each unit of currency you have, you buy fewer goods and services. This essentially erodes or chips away at the purchasing power of your money. Think of it this way. You've been saving up to buy your dream car. You've finally got enough money stashed away, but oh no, the car's price has shot up due to inflation, and your hard-earned savings are just not enough anymore. That's inflation impacting your everyday life, but it's not all doom and gloom. Inflation plays a pivotal role in economic policy. It can act as a catalyst for spending and investment. When people expect prices to rise in the future, they're more likely to spend their money now, rather than hold on to it. This can stimulate economic activity and even lead to job growth. On the flip side, when inflation is high, people might spend less as the cost of goods and services is too high. This can slow economic growth. Therefore, managing inflation is a delicate balancing act for policymakers. Inflation, like many things in economics, is a double-edged sword. It can stimulate spending and investment, but it can also erode your purchasing power. Inflation and money printing is a complex topic, but it's critical to understand. As we've explored today, inflation is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising, and subsequently, purchasing power is falling. Central banks attempt to limit inflation and avoid deflation in order to keep the economy running smoothly. We've also delved into the intricate relationship between inflation and money printing. When a government decides to print more money, this can lead to inflation. If there is more money in circulation, the value of that money can decrease, which can cause prices to rise. That's inflation. And of course, the impact on everyday life can be profound. It can affect everything from the cost of your morning coffee to your long-term savings and investment plans. Remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about how the economy works, the better you can make informed decisions about your money.